Holiday World is a park that has gained a reputation for its amazing collection of wooden roller coasters. They have 3 different coasters that have all won numerous awards, but in 2006, Holiday World truly put themselves on the map for good when they hired Gravity Group to build Voyage, which has won the Golden Ticket Award for Best Wooden Coaster 5 different times. The whole attraction is truly an experience. It lasts 90 seconds from first drop to brakes with almost 25 seconds of airtime. It is often described as 3 different rides in one, with an out and back hyper section, the twister section, and the return trip back down the hill. The first section consists of large camelbacks that deliver strong floater airtime for multiple seconds. Then you enter the spaghetti bowl with quick pops of airtime and strong laterals. And finally, you return back down the hillside, flying through many different twisted hills that all have very strong airtime and throw you around in every single direction. Everything about this ride is perfect. It is intense, has all kinds of forces, a great setting, and of course, it is so long, but still has outstanding pacing. And even with its massive length at over 6,000 feet of track, Holiday World still does their best to maintain this coaster as well as possible to keep it smooth enough to be enjoyable. This is a destination coaster for anybody that even likes roller coasters a little bit. The park's only major steel coaster is Thunderbird, a large B&M launched wing coaster. This is my favorite wing coaster in the US, and I've ridden all of them. The launch is decently forceful, and you get that feeling of leaving your stomach behind on the launch track. Then, the following Immelman is a fun inversion. The rest of the layout features 3 more inversions, but also some non-inverting elements, which is kind of rare for a wing coaster. You do fly through all of the inversions and high turns, and the ride ends with one of my favorite inversions on any coaster, the inline twist. The unique thing about Thunderbird is its pacing. None of the other wing coasters in America come close to this attraction in terms of pacing. It just seemingly goes from element to element a bit faster than the others. One thing I do suggest is getting multiple laps on Thunderbird while you're by it. This ride is located in the very back of the park on a dead end with no other rides near it, so to maximize time, you don't want to be taking any more trips back there than necessary. Another one of Holiday World's coasters to win a Golden Ticket Award for Best Wooden Roller Coaster is Raven, which took home the title 4 times between 2000 and 2003. This coaster has a great terrain layout, which delivers some good floater airtime moments, especially the 5th drop, which comes after Raven flies over Lake Rudolph, then turns back around towards the station. Then the track rises up and delivers a big drop with ejector airtime right in the middle of the layout. Though some call this element overrated, I think it is a phenomenal moment. The rest of the layout just generally feels out of control as you race along the terrain and through the woods of Holiday World. Raven is my second favorite of the wooden coasters at the park, behind Voyage, but a little bit in front of Legend, which I will discuss next. However, many people prefer Legend, and I have them pretty close together. Overall, Raven is a very fun coaster with a great layout which deserves all of the praise it gets. The last of the major coasters at Holiday World is Legend, another massive wooden coaster at the park which was built by Custom Coasters International. Legend has a 113-foot drop and a track length of over 4,000 feet, but what this coaster is really known for is its huge amount of lateral forces. In fact, many have crowned Legend as the king of laterals. The layout does feature some solid airtime moments, but the main focus of this coaster is throwing you into the side of the train relentlessly. The most memorable element of the layout is the massive unbanked helix which travels in and out of tunnels as it pins you to the side of the train. Legend is also a very long ride, with almost 75 seconds of prime ride time. While I'm not the biggest fan of the layout personally, this is just a matter of personal preference. If you are a fan of coasters with lots of laterals rather than airtime, you will absolutely love this attraction. One new coaster at Holiday World for 2024 is their new family coaster, Good Gravy. This attraction is a Vekoma family boomerang model, and it will be located past Voyage on the same path Thunderbird is located on, but still closer to the front of the park than Thunderbird. While I haven't been on a coaster of this model, it does look to be a decent family coaster which will be a good fit for the park. This is because before this installation, they didn't really have a coaster to bridge the gap from Howler, which is basically a wacky worm, and their massive adult thrill coasters. So, I will suspect this will be a popular coaster and will draw some long lines. Finally, the last coaster at Holiday World is Howler, which as I said earlier is a kiddie coaster. Adults are allowed to ride for the credit, and as far as kiddie coasters go, I don't think it was the most uncomfortable, and I'm quite tall, so I often have a pretty difficult time fitting in kiddie coasters when I ride them for the credit. One flat ride I definitely recommend experiencing at this park is Liberty Launch, which is an SNS shot tower located in the 4th of July section. It is only 70 feet tall, but it gives ridiculously strong ejector airtime when it reaches the top of the tower. For that reason, I highly recommend getting at least one ride on this attraction. This park is more than just wooden coasters. It has theming, solid operations, a great atmosphere, and lots of amenities. Holiday World offers free fountain drinks with your admission. This is great especially on a hot summer day, and I can't really think of any other parks that have this, so it is a fun treat. And it is honestly kind of nice to be able to just grab some soda or Gatorade for a quick kick of sugar and energy. Also, Holiday World provides free sunscreen for all park visitors and free parking, which is usually at least $20 at any other park. Before I visited Holiday World, I had heard many people praise their operations. However, in my experience, they were actually below average. Voyage had multiple 4-minute dispatches, but was consistently around 2.5 minutes. On Thunderbird, they were a bit better, usually around 90 seconds. The other major coasters, Legend and Raven, were about the same as Voyage. This led to wait times being decently long even though the park was pretty empty. Another thing to note about the operations is that you should not wait for the front row. The staff will consistently let people with an exit pass be led into the front row instead of people from the normal line. This can be extremely annoying, especially if you've been waiting for a long time. To be clear, I don't have a problem with people with disabilities having exit passes, but I think it's unfair that they can just choose their own row without waiting for any extra dispatches. As a result, we waited an extra 5 dispatches while next in line for the front row because people with exit passes just kept arriving and getting straight on the front row. And with the slow dispatches, that meant about 15 extra minutes just standing there. So learn from our mistake and don't do the same thing. The theming in this park is solid. Obviously, it isn't going to be as elaborate and crazy as Disney or Universal, but for a small regional park, it is good. There are 4 different sections, each themed to a different holiday. You enter the park in the Christmas section and have the option to either go to the Halloween or 4th of July sections. Then at the back of the park, in the best section for thrill rides and roller coasters, there's the Thanksgiving section. The theming gives the park a fun and charming atmosphere. Plus, celebrating Christmas in July is always a fun time. The food at Holiday World is alright, but they don't really have any unique foods compared to a park like Dollywood. But Santa's Merry Marketplace has lots of different options, from burgers to orange chicken, plus a lot of desserts and on-the-go snacks. This is located in the very front of the park and is the first building you will see when you enter. Now I'm going to give you a couple more tips to help you have the best day at Holiday World. They will close their rides early, much before the listed park closing. So if the park closes at 7 o'clock, they will close the queues for the most popular rides at around 6:30 to 6:40, so everyone is off the ride by 7 o'clock. So make sure to get in line for your last ride around half an hour to 20 minutes before the official park closing time. At the beginning of the day, the park lets guests in early. However, they will block off the pathways to go further into the park where the rides are until the park actually opens. I would also recommend getting to the park pretty early because people will gather in a sort of section between the 2 sets of gates the park has, and it can get very crowded. Then, as I just mentioned, you can get into the park before the official opening time, but they rope off the pathways at 2 different spots. These spots are about equidistant from Voyage, so it doesn't really matter which one you go to. Once the rope drops, you should head straight to Voyage and get 2 laps on it. Then, after that, I would recommend heading to Good Gravy to knock out that credit. I suspect that is an attraction which will have one of the longest lines in the park, especially this season. After that, it is kind of your choice on what to do next. Personally, I would head to Thunderbird because you are already quite close to it. Its line won't ever be too long because of its location and excellent capacity, so you can ride it whenever you want. But if you head there now, you will most likely be able to get 4 laps on it in 45 minutes or less. At this point, you can head towards the front of the park and the other major attractions. I would go towards the 4th of July section, and you can hit the park's dark ride, Gobbler Getaway, on the way there. Once in the 4th of July area, you can get on Howler for the credit, and then ride Liberty Launch once or twice. Finally, you should head towards the Halloween section at the front of the park to get your rides on Legend and Raven. The crowds should be mostly cleared out from the front at this point, so this is as good as lines will get for the 2 smaller wooden coasters in the park. After this, you can make your own decisions on what you want to get re-rides on. Now, if you want to visit Holiday World's Elite Water Park, you should do so right when it opens. That area of the park can get very, very busy, so you want to beat the crowds in that area, especially if you plan on experiencing their water coasters, which are Wildebeest, Mammoth, and Cheetah Chase. This is a very highly rated water park and is often praised as one of the best, which is included with dry park admission. In terms of where you should stay when visiting Holiday World, there really aren't too many options in Santa Claus, the town where the park is located, in terms of chain hotels. However, there are some in nearby towns such as Tell City, which feature your normal Holiday Inn type hotels. In terms of local food options, I would highly recommend Los Amigos Mexican restaurant in Tell City. Or if you are in the mood for some pizza, check out S&S Barbecue and Pizza in Santa Claus. Overall, Holiday World is one of enthusiasts' favorite parks for a reason. While it doesn't have the elite depth of the somewhat nearby parks Kings Island, Cedar Point, or Six Flags Great America, it does have the world's greatest wooden coaster with Voyage. In addition, it has fun theming, a charming atmosphere, and just an overall nice vibe. Add in the free amenities and you get a park that a lot of people find themselves coming back to year after year. If you're an enthusiast, this is a park you have to visit at least once. If you have any other thoughts about Holiday World, drop them in the comments down below. And as always, thank you for watching.